All right, and we are live. Welcome back in, everybody, for another. This is going to be a jam-packed episode, man. I think we have a lot to talk about, and there's going to be a lot of discussion to talk about. We just got even more news just minutes before this stream started. But welcome in, guys, to another edition of the Young Guns podcast with me, Kiblu, and your boy, the Hub. What's going on, bro?
Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing? Welcome into the Young Guns podcast. We got Marco Polo in here in the Mars Sober Party. How y'all doing? We got a lot of news to talk about, man. Ricky Seals Jones at tight end is just the most recent. I was honestly thinking we were out of the tight end market. We'll see what purpose he serves, because believe it or not, I actually think that he could be a starting tight end for this year. I'm not saying he's going to be like a top 15 tight end or anything, but I think he could be a starting caliber tight end for this year. I still think we're going to draft somebody, but there's a lot to talk about, man.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, let's talk about first Ricky Seals Jones. I'll quickly put this on the screen here. So the Giants are signing Ricky Seals Jones per source. The jump, whatever. Seals Jones had 30 catches, 271 yards, and 2 touchdowns last season for Washington. One of those touchdowns came against the New York Giants, I believe, last season, and that was like that toe tap drag swag in the corner of the end zone. I
Yeah,
think that was
that
on
was that
Adoree
over
Jackson.
Adoree. Yeah, that was over Adoree.
Yeah,
That week 2 game where honestly that was the touchdown that like killed us that game, because it was on that drive that was like the 75-yard drive in 20 seconds or something like that.
yeah, yeah. And Sober Party said, "Who the heck is that?" I mean,
He
Ricky
was
Seals
he
Jones is a
was
decent. He's a decent
he
tight end,
was
athletic.
Washington's second tight end,
Yeah.
right? He was the number 2.
hmm
Bro, part of the reason I like him so much, and I'm like, I think he could be our starting, once again, not to be a star tight end, just to be a tight end that starts,
Right.
is because as a number 2, he produced well. Give him a couple more snaps, give him a couple more opportunities. He could be, he could be good.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't think he's a bad option whatsoever to to start at all. I mean, think about it. We're a New York Giants team that just a couple of years ago had Larry Donnell as a starter, Will Tye as a starter, and honestly, Will Tye wasn't terrible. And I think what Ricky Seals Jones is better. Ricky Seals Jones is like more like he's like a wide receiver, tight end type of guy, right? We get rid of Evan Ingram, and we get it like a little bit of bigger option in Ricky Seals Jones, but he's all the all the receiver that Evan Ingram is really. He's very slim and can line up in the slot. I've seen him line up in the outside a couple of times. And if you just look at him, he looks like a wide receiver. I think he first came from what is it, Arizona? I think it was Arizona. Then he went to
I can't remember where
Washington.
he first came from, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
brought up you brought up the athleticism, right? Because I
Mhm.
saw somebody say he's gonna be what we wanted Evan Ingram to be now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. I'm not gonna say that, but you know what? He's Evan Ingram light,
Yeah, Evan Ingram, like we're replacing athletic tight end with another athletic tight end. So
except one that could catch.
yeah,
That's
one that
way
can
more
catch.
physical. He's a physical runner.
Yeah, and I prefer him to start right now. I mean, that's fine. He is going to start. I mean, unless you really think like a rookie tight end is going to wind up starting over him that
I
we
mean,
draft in the second or third round, I
I was
just
about
don't
to say, I
see
was
it.
like, I think if we draft Trey McBride might still start. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little high on the guy because he's the
Uh,
best tight end in the class.
yeah, we'll
I
see what
think he could
happens
start.
there. I don't know if we should even draft the tight end second in the second round. You know,
Oh
we'll
no, no,
talk about that later, of
I
course.
think McBride is in the third. Yeah, yeah. Like let's start off with a bit
But
more
McBride,
bigger
a third
topics.
round pick, McBride.
Yeah, I think that's where he. I don't know if
I
that
think
that's where he
McBride could go in a
should go.
second because McBride is like a Pat Fryermuth to me. Like Fryermuth was like good. Everybody knew Fryermuth was good, but not like he's not going to go in the first round. But everyone knew he was going in a second. I think McBride's the same thing. I
Hmm.
think McBride is the same thing. I think he's going to go early second, but he's better to just say. I know a lot of it's fun to hate on Evan Ingram. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ricky Seals Jones is probably better than Evan Ingram. I wouldn't say go as that far, but I mean he's we could replace it. He's going to be much cheaper, right? He's not $10 million. He's going to be very cheap. I don't know how cheap he's going to be, but I guess we could just assume there until the contract actually comes out. Um, and that
Hmm.
okay. But yeah, Mike Nixon in the building. What's going on? He says, "Yo, Kush, sent you something on Discord that I wanted you
Yeah,
and
I
KB
saw the
opinion
message
on. Do you
earlier.
think you
I
could
didn't
bring it
get
up
to
on
open it
stream?"
because y'all know I'd be like in tutoring usually before I. Let me pull it up then.
Yeah, so
Let's see.
yeah, while you pull that up, he used to play wide receiver, then was converted. Yeah, that's why he looks so much like a wide receiver to me. You know, Ricky Seals Jones looks like a wide receiver, especially the way he runs
I
routes.
remember when we were calling games. that you said he was a wide receiver. Actually, maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but I know he came from Arizona. I remember him on Arizona, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's like a wide receiver, tight end option," you know. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what he's gonna do, and I'm happy that we addressed the tight end, the tight end thing, and not like overspent on it. You know, we still gave ourselves the option to possibly draft a tight end, maybe more higher than people may think, and he's gonna be a cheap option. Now, we have a lot to talk about with free agency. We'll get into every individual signing in just a second. We still don't know what's going on with James Bradberry. It looks all the more likely that he's going to be released, because waiting this long to find a trade partner just seems. And we talked about it. I mean, I said it. I think I commented on your stream yesterday when you were streaming. Looking at his contract, I mean, it doesn't look like I guess, enticing for a team to say, I want to trade, a fourth round pick for this guy who's making $21 million this season. You know what I'm saying? So it may be a little hard to do that. So he may wind up being released. Now, him being released is not the end of the world, because it's still going to save us $11 million. And, there's obviously a lot of cornerback talent in this upcoming draft, especially in the top of the draft. We're going to have, in my opinion, we're going to have Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley available at 7. In my opinion, I mean, we damn near may have everybody. I'm seeing Kayvon drop. I'm seeing Evan Neal fall to us. Like I'm seeing a lot of talented guys. Like I'm seeing Malik Willis be mocked to the Lions more so than usual. And if that happens, thank the Lord. I'm seeing Kyle Hamilton stay in the top 5. Like we're gonna have so much options in the top 5. But we can talk about that later. We always talk about the draft. We got to talk about free agency. So I know, Matt Gano, we talked about it, weeks ago when he was signed, but more recently, the New York Giants continue to address the offensive line by adding Mark Glowinski, who's a longtime starter for the Colts and the Seattle Seahawks. And let's remember, the Colts had a phenomenal offensive line for the past couple of seasons. Now Glowinski was a part of that 100%, playing right guard. Was graded by PFF as the 21st best guard in the NFL last season, and also was highlighted with like a 70.6 run blocking grade, which is pretty damn good for PFF. And it just seems like he's just better than I would have thought. I heard Glowinski in the beginning, and I'm like, I know who that is, but I just don't know if he was like a top free agent. But it seems like we got him for a good price, just around like $6 million a year. I think he only affects like $3.5 million this year in the cap. And being rated the 21st best guard out of 64 starting guards in the league, that's pretty damn impressive. So there's that, and then there's John Feliciano, who's going to be playing center for the Giants. So the whole Nick Gates thing, we're going to see what happens with that. But quickly, what are your thoughts, Kush, about Glowinski and John Feliciano before we move on to the other ones?
So I'm really quickly just kind of getting out another tweet right here. Let me just finish tagging it with some hashtag.
Yeah, I'll just hit the comments real quick then.
Yeah.
Thomas Price, what's going on, Thomas? Sober Party says so he's better. I know you said that earlier. Undrafted free agents signed by the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, that's Ricky Seals-Jones. I knew he came from Arizona, because a lot of people back when he was coming out, I heard a lot of talk from Arizona that he was like a sleeper. Watch out for Ricky Seals-Jones. What's going back, Ash? What's going on? What's going back?
Yeah, shout out to Ash,
on?
first of
What's
all.
going on, Ash?
Because Ash has been missing for like how long on his little cruise over there. When are you done, by the way, bro? We gotta know. Because I took like a break from the mock draft live streams. So if you come back just in time for that, we're gonna do it. And the next one is gonna be this Sunday. So KB, if you're available to pop in with Mark Glowinski.
Yeah, I don't work, so yeah, I'll be able to.
It's literally just been like a day or two, but I've already feel like I've said this a million times, because I don't see Giants fans excited for this move when it's like we need O-line help. Mm-hmm. And we have a top guard in the NFL. Like he's a top 15 guard in the NFL to me, or a top 20. That's a great guard.
That's great,
bro.
For $6 million a year, man.
Yo, people don't realize. First of all, Quentin Nelson, with good reason, was the main focus of the Colts offensive line whenever anybody looks over there, right? Mm-hmm. But the Colts didn't go from worst to first in terms of the worst offensive line to the best offensive line in 2018 with just Quentin Nelson. They had free agent signings. One of those free agent signings was Glowinski. I believe he was with the Titans before that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He was with the
They
Seahawks.
signed him. Seahawks. They signed him. They got a couple other dudes. They got Quentin Nelson. They had the best offensive line. For years, they've been one of the best offensive lines, and he's been a part of that. He is. I'm using the Kevin Zeitler comparison because I feel like Kevin Zeitler was greatly underappreciated by Giants fans as well. Now, that's somebody that was a top 10 guard in the NFL, and Giants fans didn't realize that. He was like a Pro Bowler, like a multi-time Pro Bowler, I believe, top 10 guard, right? This guy is right below Kevin Zeitler. That's why I'm saying like top 20, maybe top 25, but still really good. Coming from a proven line, coming from a line that's been successful, we should be more excited about it. See, we're only paying him $3.6 million this year. I think it's like $6 to $7 million next year. And for whatever reason, whether he takes a step back or maybe the Giants find somebody better or whatever the case is, we can get out the third year. But if he doesn't, he's still a right guard the third year. And he fits what it looks like the Giants wants to do. Now, his forte is without a doubt run blocking, right? And creating running lanes without a doubt. Doesn't mean he's terrible in pass blocking. Every time we talk about it, it's the same thing like with Akeem. When Akeem, before he's blown up, because now everybody loves him, but just a couple months ago when I was one of the three people that loved the guy and everybody was on Evan Neal, they said it's because he's a run blocking right tackle. I'm like, that doesn't mean he's bad in pass blocking. It just means his forte is run. And that fits what the Giants are doing, because you look at last year when our terrible offensive line was terrible. I know that was such a great sentence, but when our terrible offensive line was terrible, they still somehow managed to scheme up like good pass protection during several games. And I commented on that, whether I was streaming with Kid Blue Live in the game or whether I was doing my reaction video. And I was like, you know what? The O-line pass blocking today wasn't that bad, especially in the first half of the season. The first half of the season, more so, there was like a couple of games where we had good pass protection. And in the second half, it was more so like a couple of drives. It was a lot less. But what we could never, ever, ever create was good running lanes and just a good running game. So I think the Giants are like, how about we just get people that are proven run blockers and still good in pass protection, but we could scheme up if they're deficiencies anyway. We could, mask it through whatever blocking screen Bobby Johnson is going to run. Or we're just going to work off the play action. I mean, who said that for years? Every single Giants fan have said for years. Danny, much like Eli, is going to live off of play action. I really like it, and I think fans should be more excited about it.
Yeah, and same thing with John Feliciano. I'm trying to look up like his PFF grade. It looked like it was a 56.7 PFF grade. I can't look at anything else, but they didn't allow any sacks either. We move on to John Feliciano, man. Did his contract details come out? Do you know?
No, actually, I have no idea. I don't think so.
Because I know we got the contract details with Glowinski, and we briefly talked about it and how it only affects like $3.6 million towards the cap.
All I know is that he's gonna be really cheap. I think that's all I could say.
He may be cheap. I thought, in my opinion, I thought he was a better free agent than Glowinski, but it seems like Glowinski may be the better free agent than John Feliciano. No, yeah.
Without question, I wouldn't even put Feliciano. Like, I would say Glowinski is a really good starter. Feliciano, in my opinion, is like an average starter. There's a reason he was going cheap. Other than his age, he already has had 2 paydays in his career. So we're not about to give him a payday, but also his age plays a factor into it. Like I said, I think like an average guard, which is more than good. All of these guys are upgrades. And I say it all the time. Sure. You don't need to have star players. You don't need to have star players at every position. We got a star in Andrew Thomas, in my opinion. We have a really good guy in Glowinski, and we have an average player in Feliciano at the center. Just get me a stud rookie right tackle, and at least on paper, all right? Sorry if I seem optimistic, but at least on paper, that should be an average offensive line to me. You know what I'm saying? Barring injuries and whatnot.
Yeah. It should
with
be
Feliciano,
good.
The thing with him is I am a bit worried about him playing center. I would have really, 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 really preferred if we just got a center that's a center through and through, whether through the draft or free agency. Because right after we signed Feliciano, J.C. Tretter from the Cleveland Browns was cut. I was like, there's no
but Tretter's going to get money, man. Tretter's going to get paid.
He probably is, right? But like, I don't know. I still would say don't count the Giants out if like they're sitting in the third round and Alec Lindstrom drops in their lap with their second, third round pick. And they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to pull the trigger.
And it's not like it's set in. So I know we're seeing a lot of sources saying that Feliciano's going to play center. But
he himself has said it in the first interview.
Yeah. But the thing is, if something happens, like you just said, if Alec Lindstrom were to drop in a draft and the Giants didn't expect it, and he's just on the board and they draft him, I mean, it's not too late to just try to put him at guard and see what happens there. It's not like it's
not just try and put him, just put him at left.
Just put him at left guard. Can you
imagine an O-line? Andrew Thomas, John Feliciano, Alec Lindstrom, Mark Glowinski, Akeem Ekwonu, bro.
Akeem Ekwonu.
Like what?
That would be nasty. That would be pretty damn nasty.
What are we talking about?
I mean, what are we
Like what?
talking about? Like even now, okay, and I'm not like you said. You're not gonna out here. We're not gonna come out here and say like these are like world. This is a world beater offensive line. It's gonna be great all of a sudden. But if you just look at it right now, how much better it is already. With Glowinski, adding Glowinski in there, any offensive lineman from the Colts would have been just fine. I mean, Glowinski is a great addition to the Giants. You add in Feliciano in there, and Feliciano has had really good years. I remember back in Oakland, he was like one of the better guards in the NFL when he was back with Oakland. And hopefully he can get back to that. And for him to just be, a decent starter, just a solid starter, next to, playing center, like he's only played a couple snaps at center. So we'll see what happens there with Buffalo. So it's more recently. So that's good. But, having him there, the only hole that to me is glaring to me is left guard. And I know right tackle, we don't know what's going to happen with right tackle, but I do think we're going to address it. I do think we're going to address right. I don't think we go into the season with Matt Gano and Matt Parrott at right tackle. I do think we're going to get like an Ekem or Evan Neal or Charles Cross with one of our first round picks. No doubt in my mind at all. So really the big glaring need to me is the left guard position. Like, can Shane Lemieux not only come back from injury, okay, but can he develop as a player and be the player that I guess Dave Gettleman thought he could be? Because in my honest opinion, coming out the draft, Shane Lemieux to me was obviously a project, 5th round pick. He's going to be a project. I thought he was a mauler in the run game, but he had one of the worst like grades as a pass blocker in like freaking forever. I mean, you should see how everybody knows how bad he was as a pass blocker. And that's to me really concerning, because, Daniel Jones's job depends on it. And maybe even Tyrod Taylor's, right? The success of the quarterback really depends on it. And even Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux going to left guard, can affect Andrew Thomas's game as well. If Andrew Thomas has to babysit Shane Lemieux because Shane Lemieux's getting beat
Well, don't
inside
forget,
constantly.
this was the weird conundrum. Let's not forget, Andrew actually played better with Shane Lemieux at left guard versus like having Will at left guard.
Weird.
Yeah.
Which is weird,
It was
right?
crazy.
But still, I don't want to just rely on that, but I just hope that he doesn't hold this team back. Shane Lemieux doesn't hold the offensive line back, hold Andrew Thomas back, or even whatever quarterback is going to be starting for the Giants at whatever point in time. So to me, it just seems like the biggest need right now is left guard.
This comment real quick because Alexis brings up a good point. It is always good to like examine the weaknesses of a player, and like I said, his strength is run blocking, his weakness is pass blocking. Don't take that thing like as like what you call as like the word of God, right? Like that he was one spot ahead of Will Hernandez. Because I also saw that he had a good amount of pressures. I think it was like 35 pressures, something like that. I was like, that's kind of high for somebody like that is a top 20 guard. So what I did is what I usually do. I kind of looked into it, and I also spoke to some Colts fans. And first of all, much like I said when we got Patterson, our D-line coach, whenever a team, not only its fans, but the people that are like report for that team are sad that they lose somebody, and they said that we should have kept this guy. You made a good move. It happened with Patterson, and it happened with Glowinski. Glowinski was somebody apparently that fans and media of the Colts, they were like, oh, this is somebody we got to keep. We got to re-sign him, and they just completely lost him. In terms of his pass blocking, some of that has to do with the Colts system, is from what I gathered, and also some of that specifically last year had to do with Carson Wentz and quarterback play in terms of the pressures and whatnot. Well, he's a capable pass blocker, is what I'll say. It's not like his pass blocking is bad.
Yeah,
he's not a bad pass blocker.
And I think we could all collectively agree, even if he was one spot ahead of Will Hernandez, I'm pretty sure he was a far better run blocker as well. Obviously, PFF
Alden
is
just
very
said.
happy
Alden
about
literally
it.
just said what I said.
Pressure was from Wentz holding on to the ball too long. Yeah, I would assume so as well. So, Glowinski and John Feliciano, I don't know if that guy's going to be spamming. I see 3 so far. If it's a 4th, mods, do your job. Yeah, please, mods, get that going.
Please don't spam, Mr. Cool.
Yeah, Mr. Cool. Come on, be cool, Mr. Cool. Be cool. Put you on timeout. But anyway, so all right. So we talked about the offensive line, talked about the free agents on the offensive line. Now let's go to one of the more interesting signings, and one that I'm going to like more and more just because of the contract details, and that is Tyrod Taylor, the quarterback from multiple teams. We talked about it. We talked about Tyrod, and you even wanted Tyrod Taylor to be our bridge quarterback last season. And we'll talk briefly about that and his contract details. Everybody talked about it. He has 2 years, $11 million. He's been making $5.5 million pretty much for a very long time. So he's very used to it.
He made $5.5 million with the Chargers. He made $5.5 million with the Texans. Now he's making $5.5 million with us.
So pretty much he charges a standard to
and you know
when he's in contract.
I respect that.
I respect that. He's a man that doesn't want any more, any less. He's like, hey, give me 5.5 and I'm good wherever you put me.
Real quick, before I get into the to the Tyrod thing, because just to wrap up the offensive line, right? Like I agree with you, upgrade is an upgrade. Like we said, we have just with Glowinski alone, we have a star in my opinion, Andrew Thomas, a really good player in Glowinski, an average guy in Feliciano, and somebody that hopefully would be a starting right tackle through the draft, right? If left guard is our one and only weakness, that's a good thing. But also we have really good depth right now because Matt Pert as a backup tackle is really good. Matt Gano as a backup tackle is really good. Hell, even Shane Lemieux as a backup tackle is really good. These guys guard is really good. These guys are going to be really good depth, really good second stringers. They're just not cut out to be stars, but they're going to be really good depth. Like, we're going to have depth as well. And now with Tyrod, it's crazy because everybody's reaction to his contract at first, before we got the full details, it was 2 years, $17 million. We're like, oh my God, $8.5 million. They don't believe in Daniel. This man is going to start. The thing is, and for those of you that don't know, the actual contract is 2 years, $11 million. So he's $5.5 million each year with the incentives that could lead up to $17 million. So everybody's reaction, in my opinion, is still the truth because he's gonna be a $5.5 million quarterback if he's the backup, and he's gonna be an $8.5 million quarterback if he starts.
That's why it's a win-win situation. That's why it's a win-win situation for the Giants. So I said this on my stream yesterday, and think of it as an insurance plan. You may pay a decent penny for insurance when you've never gotten in an accident. That's just because, just in case, right? You still have insurance either way. You haven't gotten in an accident, but you still pay a decent penny for insurance. Like me personally, I pay like $400 in insurance because I got in an accident previously, but I pay a lot of money for insurance. Looking at Tyrod Taylor, he's being paid $5.5 million to pretty much sit on the bench. A lot of people may think that's still a lot of money, but if you really think about it, he's an insurance plan because if he were to play.
Bro, KB, even thinking about it as $5.5 million just to be a backup, bro, I'm rather paying that than paying 2.75 for what we paid for Mike Glennon, and he was just no faith in that man for a backup.
Exactly. And then so if he winds up hitting that, I'm pretty sure the incentive is game started, right? The incentive
100%. It's literally gonna be, listen, bro, if you're the guy for this year, you're gonna be paid 17 million.
So, and think about it, guys. That's not even $17 million for 1 year. That's $17 million for 2 years. Okay, so it's $8.5 million. Where can you find a starter for $8.5 million that's actually not going to lose you a game? It's honestly a win-win situation for the Giants. If he winds up starting, then he's being paid $8.5 million. And people are like, well, if you combine Daniel Jones' salary and Tyrod Taylor's salary, okay, $16 million, right? That's not even that bad. That's not bad, man. It's not bad at all. I'll take it.
Shout out to Sarah in here. We got a Colts fan, and I'll definitely want to talk about that because we'll get into like the whole AFC about halfway through the show probably because the AFC is stacked. Like the AFC is beyond stacked right now. The NFC is weak, bro. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Well, it's like the East and West, man. It's like the East and West in basketball.
I made the comparison. I was on Clapback Sports. It was their 100th episode. I was on there literally a couple minutes before I came on here. And I made the comparison. I was like, it reminds me of the early 2010s, late 2000s, West versus East in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Now it's a bit more balanced, but like it reminds me of that. With Tyrod, you mentioned it. I wanted him last year for the Giants. Look at what he's done as a backup / bridge. He was a bridge quarterback in Buffalo that took them to the playoffs, and then they were like, this guy's too good. Let's get him out of here. Ship him to the Browns because he took them to the playoffs, and the next year they drafted Josh Allen. He was with the Browns. I call this the Tyrod Taylor effect because I don't know if
he's like the ultimate bridge quarterback.
But he was the ultimate bridge. Baker Mayfield had what some people consider still his best season in his career, his rookie year, Tyrod backing him up and being kind of a little bit of a mentor to him. Well, I guess we'll call it. Justin Herbert was the next guy he went to. Justin Herbert had one of the best rookie years of all time with Tyrod. And once again, Tyrod he started a couple of games. He probably would have started more if the doctors in LA didn't. Yo, first of all, those doctors need to be arrested. They almost killed him, bro.
They almost killed him. How do you puncture a lung?
I don't know how you accidentally do that. That's ridiculous. And then he went. People are forgetting about the legend Davis Mills. I'm not even joking when I say that half joking, because
He's
Davis
pretty
Mills
good.
had a
He's
couple
pretty damn
400.
good. Pretty
Davis
damn
Mills
good.
was throwing that ball out
He's
there.
like an
And once again, it
immobile.
was
He's like an
Tyrod.
immobile Daniel Jones almost. He really is.
And
So.
also, before people forget about the Texans a lot, because the Texans were supposed to be a trash team, and this is why I love, and I this is going against me because his name keeps slipping me. David Culley. I love David Culley, and I thought he should have definitely gotten a head coaching job because the Texans were supposed to go like 0-17, and they went 4-12. David Culley has a part of that, and they were competitive early on with Tyrod Taylor playing quarterback. I think it was like the first 2 games around or so, and they were competing with teams. Remember that? What was their week 1 score, bro? Let me pull this up, bro.
It's like 40. It was like 40 to something.
It was like, yeah, they dropped 40 points. Yo, bro.
Tyrod Taylor.
Texans, what is it? 20,
and think about it.
21.
Tyrod Taylor is not even like a gunslinger, dude. He throws for like 200.
He's kind of a game manager.
He is the ultimate game manager. This guy doesn't throw interceptions, doesn't turn over the ball, and throws for like 200 yards a game. I mean, that is like game manager if I've ever heard one. But he gets
But he
the
has
job
the mobility,
done.
yeah. Bro, they started off 1-0, 37-21.
37, okay. Yeah, just about 40 points.
Tyrod Taylor was 21 of 33, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Like,
Sarah,
bro,
you are welcome here, but watch it. Not just playing. Daniel Jones is not good. Only
Mike,
Giants fans can say that.
I saw it. We'll pull it up eventually, Mike. I saw it. But yeah, no, like, bro, this is just a good signing all around. And I'm gonna be honest with you, me and KB have been DJ defenders since he was drafted, and we've been very, very strong Daniel Jones defenders for his first 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm like, I could confidently say he's not the franchise quarterback. He is not the quarterback of the future. He's gonna be here for this year. He's gonna have a chance to do something. He's gonna have a chance to, go out there, and he's gonna have to wow us. But I really think he's gonna have to just explode, like 4,000 to 4,500 yards, like around 30 touchdowns. He's gonna have to do that to get an extension. I'm not gonna kid with you. And even then, it's like it's still iffy because it's like, okay, do it again. We need consistency out of you. Like, that is a legitimate concern.
Now,
But I'm at the point where it's like, he's gone next year, and because Tyrod is on a 2-year deal, he's gonna serve in 2023 what he did with the Browns, in my opinion, what he did with the Chargers, and what he did with the Texans. He's gonna be the bridge quarterback for whoever we draft in 2023. That's how I see it, honestly.
Bryce Young train, baby. Bryce Young train.
I actually said CJ Stroud, and I made a joke about this on Twitter.
I'm Bryce Young guy.
They were like, yo, he's the perfect mentor for Malik Willis. I retweeted that tweet, and I was like, he plays similar to CJ Stroud, so I'm thinking about a move for next year. Like, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm a Bryce Young guy. CJ Stroud, all the more, just either way, it's a good prospect. And like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Tyrod Taylor, being that bridge quarterback, and eventually, I'm looking for that too. But Daniel Jones, what do you think should happen week 1? I know it's a little too early to say, obviously, but what do you want to happen? Do you want Tyrod to start week 1, or do you want to see Daniel Jones start until he sucks? And then
I want to see whoever wins the battle start, right? And it's definitely going to be a battle. This was something else I mentioned on Twitter and like in the last couple of streams I did, which is that if you look at the type of guy they've been trying to get, I mean, it speaks volumes about them actually how much they believe in Daniel Jones, because even if we got Mitch, they were trying to get somebody that could legitimately win the job in the summer. And with Tyrod, he could legitimately beat Daniel out and win the job. So I hope that they actually just start who wins that battle. I hope that Tyrod doesn't go out there, plays, his butt off, just looks better than Daniel, and then they still start Daniel because, of some type of obligation to him, right? But I'll say this, and I'm going to lose people here, I know it. I'm going to lose people. We're going to turn off the stream. They're going to unsub everything. They're going to dislike the video. Remember the Carpenter. I was probably one of the only dudes that actually was pushing the Carpenter on my streams and saying, believe what this man is saying. He's saying the truth. Back in week 12, when, he first came out, not the Twitter account, the Carpenter, because I hate that somebody tried to make it into like a meme account and now everybody forgets who it's actually based off of. It was based off of a dude that leaked information from the Giants. I honestly think it was just a whistleblower. They were the first people to leak that Daniel Jones had that neck injury in the Eagles game, and they said it was all in one tweet that he was going to be out for the rest of the season. The Giants are going to try and play it down that it's not that serious, but it's in actuality a really serious neck injury. That's exactly what happened. Up until around week 14 or 15 when Jake Fromm started, we were always asking the question, is he going to start? They never gave us an answer. And once Jake Fromm started, we were like, okay, he's out for the rest of the season. And then remember, there was when the neck surgery information came out, it was a way more serious injury than they let on initially.
Right.
Some type of like something that could have ended his career type of injury. And so now what I'm thinking is, and like I said, I'm going to lose people here. If that trend continues, I'm thinking that the neck injury is more serious than what they're telling us because they say, oh, he's cleared for contact in August. I'm like, well, first of all, that's late into camps. Tyrod is already going to have a head start. But what if it's such a serious injury that like he's not cleared for week 1, and that's another reason they signed Taylor to take over for the first couple of weeks until he's actually cleared to come back and play.
We'll see what happens with that. I mean, I'm hoping that Daniel Jones is ready to go by camp. I mean, I'm hoping that he's ahead of schedule and doing that. I don't know the updates on Daniel Jones, but my next question was, say they have a legitimate quarterback battle. And legitimately, like I guess we could see from training camp, from even preseason, maybe we see that Daniel Jones wins the job. How confident would you then be in Tyrod Taylor to even come in for Daniel Jones and help this team win if Daniel Jones winds up sucking later on in the season? I mean, if Daniel Jones legitimately won the job and Daniel Jones winds up starting week 1, and then by week 6, Daniel Jones just isn't getting it done, how confident will you then be in Tyrod Taylor being the starting quarterback for the Giants if he lost initially to Daniel Jones?
So real quick, I see that Chris Godwin resigned. Yeah, since Tom Brady went back, I started thinking to myself, oh, there's a lot of people's going to start resigning there, like the Bucs free agents, as soon as that man went back.
I heard that he was the reason why Russell Gage went to Tampa,
yeah.
too.
And we'll definitely get into that. But okay, so you pose an interesting question because at first I thought we were going to say when Daniel goes out for his annual injury, how confident am I in Tyrod to win his games? But this is very different. It's like he beats out Daniel, and it's week
Daniel
6,
sucks.
and we're like, yeah, like he's sucking or okay, let me clarify. Does he suck? Like, give me a stat line throughout the 6 games, or is he just Daniel Jones from the first 3 years? Because there's a difference.
I would say a mixture of both. Just Daniel Jones not being able to win.
You got to give me 1 or 2, man.
Okay.
Don't make it too difficult.
Let's just say Daniel Jones is still turning over the ball and actually being the reason why we're losing games rather than
so he
being
sucks.
the reason why
like he is definitively the reason.
Yeah.
If he is definitively the reason, we will see him not start. I'll say that because the fan base will be too loud. Fan reaction will be way too loud. They're definitely. I think they would pull him out no matter what. In terms of how confident am I in Tyrod to win games in that situation, I guess I will be confident because the turnovers are why we're losing in this situation. He
Tyrod doesn't turn over. He doesn't turn the football over. One thing that I talked about before, and I know that he had that 37-point game. You look at Tyrod Taylor, and he just the quarterback that he is. It's not a knock on him at all. Just the quarterback that he is. What game managers do is just they rely on the talent around them. Like Tyrod Taylor, I've said this time and time again. You go back into his stats. He doesn't throw interceptions. Doesn't turn over the ball. He's actually one of the best in NFL history of not turning over the ball in games started. As far as ratio goes. But he does not pass for a lot of touchdowns, does not pass for a lot of yards. I mean, when he was with Buffalo in that 9-7 season that he had, I mean, he had plenty of 150-yard games throwing. Like, he's not a guy to go out there and be a gunslinger and push the ball downfield and score a lot of points. He relies on running the ball down, right? He relies on, running the clock out, with the strong running game. He even runs the ball himself. So he relies on that. Back when he was with Buffalo, that Buffalo defense was absolutely insane. So he was able to, rely on the defense to not allow, a lot of points so they can wind up winning the game. He doesn't really win the game himself. So if Tyrod Taylor winds up starting for the New York Giants and Daniel Jones is sat down, I mean, although I can see Tyrod Taylor doing just fine and not being the reason why we lose games, can he be the reason why we win games? Because if you look at the talent around us, although, we always say constantly, every single year we say this, we have talent on the offense. We just can't get it done. If Tyrod Taylor has to be Tyrod Taylor and rely on the talent around him to get the win, will we get a win? Because Kenny Golladay is on and off. Kadarius Toney is always hurt. Sterling Shepard's always hurt. The offensive line is
let me
shaky.
stop you there because it feels like you said 2 different things. At first you said, is he the reason we could win? And then you said he relies on the talent. Like, that's 2 different things, right? Because I don't think because if any quarterback is the reason you're winning games, you got a franchise quarterback in your hands, and that is definitely
I don't think he's the reason why teams.
If we win games, it's definitely going to be because that offensive talent is pulling through.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that even with Tyrod Taylor starting, that the question is after that is not will he win us a game, is will the rest of the team, win them the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's
I
like,
think it would be the team. I think it
yeah,
would definitely be the team.
it would have to be the teams, and so that remains the question. So even with Tyrod Taylor there, a lot of people think maybe our problems will be fixed for at least the meantime until we wind up getting another quarterback. You want CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, you know, but the question still remains: can the rest of the team pull through? So that's still another thing that kind of I wouldn't say concerns me about Tyrod Taylor. Mods, please, I'll probably do it again. I'm one more time, and this dude is I don't know how to block him completely from
Shout
StreamYard.
out to Kresley in here, Yo Nappy, Rio F
What up?
Star, Mike, Sarah, Yuvraj, Yvette's. What's up, y'all? Edward was in here. What's up, everybody?
Yes, sir. We got
We
Ricky
got
Seals Jones, the man that mossed Adoree Jackson
three
last season.
homies, one what?
Well, what?
Hey, yo.
What are you talking about?
You don't see that comment?
No,
The
I'm
name
seeing
of that person?
three. I know. Where is it? All the way up?
It's right above cool, bro.
Oh no, I don't see it. It's not on StreamYard. I'm looking at it from StreamYard. I don't see
I'm
it on
looking at it from
StreamYard.
StreamYard too. I'm doing the rock eye right now.
I see.
Hey, yo.
I see. Oh, I see it. And it's got your picture on it. Oh man,
Uh,
three homies. That's all you, bro. That's all you.
Scott 35.
Mhm.
I agree with you, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Daniel
I
Jones
agree
has
with
had
you.
the biggest misfortune of playing with the worst O-line in the pros and in college. He played with I could put, and this is why I feel for Daniel Jones. And a lot of people call us Daniel Jones defenders or whatever the
And
case,
I said it
whatever the
earlier.
case
Me and
is.
KB were some of the biggest Daniel Jones defenders on the planet
Yeah,
in his first 3 years here.
yeah, and because watching him on film, and this is the reason why I defend Daniel Jones so much is because of what I thought about Daniel Jones before I really looked into him. Okay, when I was doing my scouting back then, back in the 2019 days, looking at Daniel Jones just from just from a glaring look, right? Just for glancing at Daniel Jones, you could see that he really doesn't light it up. The production isn't quite there all the time, but if you look at the talent around him, guys were dropping balls. The offensive line was absolutely terrible. He was running for his life. And you guys know that he's athletic, but not, the most mobile quarterback like Kyler Murray that went in that draft. You look at Daniel Jones and he was very, very, very unfortunate in his career,
Listen,
whether it be
I've said
college or
it.
NFL.
I've said it probably a million times through the 3 years
Thank
that
you,
he's
Will.
been here, and then even John Mayer himself said it. The team has done literally everything to fail the man. He's done nothing but go out there, put his life on the line sometimes, just put his body on
He's
the line,
been
and do everything to try and win. But it hasn't been enough, and that's not why I'm saying I think the Daniel Jones tenure is coming to an end. The reason I'm saying that is because I don't think that he's going to be a quarterback that takes us to the promised land,
right.
right? At least not in the way that the team is currently at, and he's coming to the end of his contract, which is something so many people forget. We're gonna have to re-sign this guy before I think the Giants are in a position to compete. And then also, of course, like take your emotion out of it, take your heart out of it, think about it logically. Yo, he was not drafted. We say this a lot of times with a lot of teams, but the fact of the matter is that it's true. He was not drafted by this current regime. This is not. He wasn't even drafted by the last guys. Joe Judge, he wasn't a Joe Judge guy. He was a Pat Shermer guy.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a Joe Judge guy. He's not a Brian Dable guy. If it doesn't work out and he's gonna have to prove himself, and he does have a lot of questions, man. He's very inconsistent. He has a lot of things he needs to improve upon. There's still issues that we're talking about that he's had in his rookie year, for crying out loud, right? So because it's just logically things point towards, unless he has that breakout season, he's going to be gone. But I'm very, very glad that they're giving him a chance and they're going to do everything in their power to set him up with the best situation possible to have that breakout season.
The reason why I still want to see more from Daniel Jones, a lot of people are ready to throw in the towel on Daniel Jones. And you know what? It's understandable. From the outside looking, it's understandable. If you're not really looking at it at I guess, a full point of view, I want to see Daniel Jones in a better situation. I want to see what he can do when he doesn't have to face adversity constantly. Look, just going back to his time at Duke, and then obviously in his prior years with the Giants, he's never had it easy. He's never had it easy, and he was still able. Okay, just look at this last year. Okay, Daniel Jones had a 400-yard game, against the Saints, right? And he had a couple of decent games, one against Carolina where he had that crazy catch. Like Daniel Jones has gotten this team to remarkable wins. The game against Oakland, he played very well as well. The game, he's able to win games. If you look at, I know Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm suck, right? We get that. But they were literally useless in this offense. Useless. The fact that Daniel Jones was able to handle this offense in any sort of way tells you that he is talented. He is a guy that can get things done. I coming out the draft, and I still believe this, I think his ceiling or his pro comp is like Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins to me is very good. Will Kirk Cousins win you a Super Bowl?
Well,
No.
that's the Kirk Cousins in 2019 is different from Kirk Cousins. I think like Kirk Cousins has really gone from being just like a game manager to somebody that could actually
like
win you the game with his hand. Like he's
like a gunslinger.
He's evolved.
And that's what I think of Daniel Jones. Like Daniel Jones to me, when I think Daniel Jones, looks like a guy that went from a kind of a game manager type dude that people consider him as. And I think Daniel Jones could be a gunslinger. No problem. But I think Daniel Jones could be a gunslinger, and I think he is a gunslinger, obviously, because he throws the ball in harm's way a lot and tests the ball when he can. But like I said, I think Kirk Cousins is his ceiling, and Kirk Cousins will not win you Super Bowl, but I think he could be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I think that of Daniel Jones. I really do. I just want to see, if we let him go, we let him go. But I just want to see one season with Daniel Jones where he doesn't have to do it all himself. I want to see a season with Daniel Jones where things are a little bit easier for him, when there's way better talent and things are running smoothly. I want to see what type of quarterback he can be. And if he can be, the quarterback that we've seen against the Saints. You look at the Saints, that was one of the few games that we had a lot of our talent. I don't know if we were missing anybody. I think we were missing only, Kadarius was there. He just didn't get any playing time. I think all of our guys were there, like Evans, Saquon. I think everybody was there with the Saints. And look what he did. Look what he put up. He put up what, 3 touchdowns, 400 yards. I mean, the man absolutely went off against the Saints, and that was with the offensive line playing well, with all of his pieces. Kenny Golladay had over 100 yards. All of his pieces playing well. Daniel Jones looked like a phenomenal quarterback. Hell, PFF after that game, PFF had him graded as a top 5 quarterback throughout the season up to that point. A top 5 quarterback. Not saying that he can be that, but he can put up those type of numbers. He can be that for a couple of games. And I don't know how consistent he can do that. But if you put Daniel Jones in a good position to win and not have him running for his life, give him an offensive line, give him weapons, and see what he can do. If he can't do anything with it consistently, then let him go. But I honestly think, it's crazy to say this, Kush, but through 3 years of Daniel Jones starting for the Giants so far, I honestly think we still don't have a fair evaluation about the quarterback he can truly be. Because we see it in little bits and pieces, but we're not seeing it consistently.
That lies one of the problems as well. And we could beat this horse to death. And I really kind of want to end this topic soon, because this is like the 50th time we've hashed this out on this podcast, right? But like right in there lies that problem. And it's not even his fault, but the problem is that going into year 4, you don't know what you have. That is a problem. No matter what situation there is, if you don't know what your quarterback and your rookie contract is in year 4, you're not going to go anywhere with him anytime soon.
Exactly. And Super Taj World says it perfectly. DJ has been getting failed all the 3 years. I mean, he's been failed constantly, time and time again. The moment you get first of all, you're honestly, with my philosophy, you're already supposed to have a decent functioning offensive line before you get your quarterback, because you do not want to put a young quarterback behind a terrible offensive line and just say deal with it until we could fix it. I would say get your offensive line now. You look at Dak's situation. Look at Dak's situation when he came into the NFL. That offensive line was already amazing, and he had one of the best rookie seasons for a quarterback, And we all know Dak isn't, what he all cracked up to be in his rookie season. He kind of came back to earth a little bit. But you put a young quarterback in such a position of success, no matter how talented they are, automatically, just by helping him with the offensive line and even giving him a decent amount of weapons, an average amount of weapons, and see what he can do with that. Daniel Jones has not been able to have that throughout his career and throughout his college career as well. Let's just give him an offensive line and see what he can do with it. And I think this year we can possibly get that done, especially if we get a guy like Ekem, right? And we got Glowinski, we got Feliciano, we got Andrew Thomas. If we get Ekem in there, I think that would be more than enough to see if Daniel Jones can get it done. But yeah, let's move on to the to next topic. I mean, I guess we can really talk general
No,
NFL now because we don't know.
James Bradbury
James
trade, right?
Bradberry, yes,
So
yes, yes.
you brought up earlier, and I gotta disagree with what you said earlier about cutting him now because his contract he got the I think $100,000 today. I forgot what kind of bonus it was, but like the new league year began, he got $100,000. The rest, and I mean the rest of the contract, does not kick in until week 1. So we could keep him
Okay,
on
so
the
we have
roster all
time.
the way
We got
throughout the
time.
entire offseason if we
Yeah.
need to try and trade him. Realistically speaking, the last date he should be here if we're getting rid of him through trade would probably be the draft, like night of the draft. And
You have to,
hey,
yeah, if you want to get some picks.
maybe it's a like a draft night type of trade. And I gotta say this because Giants fans, they not just Giants fans, NFL fans in general, they'll get on your neck if they can. They have anything to get on your neck with. I don't want James Bradbury gone. In fact, I would love the Giants kept James Bradbury. However, our new general manager wants to clear out $40 million in cap space. We already cleared out about half of that. The other half, realistically speaking, is going to come from somehow Bradbury's contracts getting moving off the books. Now, can we keep him through a restructure? Yes. Unfortunately, the GM doesn't want to do any restructuring. We've seen that. Sterling Shepard, like, I called it a restructure, but it was literally just a pay cut because I don't think he's here next year. Same thing with Blake Martinez. It wasn't a restructure. It was a straight-up pay cut. So unless Bradbury wants to accept the pay cut, I don't think he will. He's in a great position. Like, that was his first contract off his rookie deal. Like, thinking from the player's perspective, why in the world would I want to sabotage my first contract off my rookie deal? It's my best chance of making money in the NFL that I got. So I don't think he's going to accept that. And then, like I said, Joe Shane said he doesn't want to do restructures to push money back. He'll do backloaded contracts with new guys. It's different with getting a new guy and doing a backloaded contract like what we did with Mark Lewinsky versus pushing an existing contract back even more that we already pushed back to this year, which is why we're in this position in the first place, right? So we'll see. $2 million roster bonus. Yeah, whatever the case was, the rest of it does not kick in, I think, until week 1 or until like the season begins. We got a couple months time at the very least.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I agree with that, and it would have to be obviously week 1 would be the point
So,
where
like,
you can't sign him.
There's no way like he's here week 1 and we're still shopping him at that point.
Yeah, we can't because it wouldn't make any sense because then you would get a pick in next year's draft. Obviously, the draft would be gone. So although technically week 1 is the pretty much the deadline really to trade him realistically. I don't think it would happen anyway. It has to be before the draft or draft night, which I mean, I don't want to wait till draft. I just want to make sure we got a pick. I want to make sure we clear cap space. But I really thought by this time we already got rid of James Bradbury if we really wanted to let him go. And I know shopping him, obviously, maybe that's not as successful as we think it would be. It may be harder to shop him around, but James, I love it. I wish he could stay, but his cap is too damn high. He's getting paid too much money, and unfortunately, we're probably gonna have to see him go. But if we can just get a 4th round pick from this dude, I mean, a lot of people are saying 5th, but
because Mike wanted me to read what the idea he suggested over Discord for James Bradbury. He says, "What do you think of this theory? We keep Bradbury just for this year. We move on from Aaron Robinson. Oh no, we move Aaron Robinson to safety. And then move Adoree to the slot and have Ahmad outside. Then we have 2 lockdown corners on both sides. What do I think of that idea? I mean, I like the idea, but like I don't see it working out because what's happening with Bradbury's contract in that situation? I have no idea what you're doing with his contract there, Mike.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, if we keep Bradbury somehow, I don't know why we take Sauce at 1.
Yeah, we wouldn't take.
At 7.
We would. There would be no reason to. There would be no reason to.
At that point, I'm trading, which I think the best scenario is trade down, get into your teens. You have your choice of Tyler Linderbaum. You got your choice of Kenyon Green. You got your choice of 2 stud starting middle linebackers. You probably still have Derek Stingley there if you really want a cornerback, I'm going to be honest with you. And you have your choice of whatever edge rusher you want to get.
I would definitely go edge rusher. A guy like Karlaftis if he fall. Okay, I'm seeing Karlaftis fall a lot, and I understand it. I get it. I love Karlaftis, but good players fall in drafts, and I just don't. A lot of players don't really need Karlaftis. I mean, a lot of teams don't really need Karlaftis later on in the draft, so I could see him falling a bit. But I would love to trade down and get a Karlaftis. It wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind whatsoever. NY Finance says, how do you like the tight end pickup? We love it. We talked about that in the beginning of the stream. Very good pickup. It's going to be a very cheap option, and it's going to provide a very similar skill set that Evan Ingram provided with that athletic, slot receiving tight end. I definitely think that Ricky Seals-Jones can fit that and be a cheaper option. So I love it. I love the pickup, and it still gives us an option to possibly draft a tight end in the draft. Whether you guys like a higher sort of value guy in Trey McBride or kind of a mid rounder guy like a Jeremy Rucker. So
yeah, I agree with you.
No
there
problem,
for sure.
Mike. No problem, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. I was just like, I was wondering as soon as I read it, I was like, what's happening with his contract though? I was like, what in the world's happening with his contract? That's the first thing that popped in my mind.
And honestly, I'm trying to look at any other way that we cook the books to keep Bradberry. I don't see in any way at all that we keep Bradberry. Like I think it's 100% that he's going to be off the team, and whether it be we release him or we trade him. Because there's no way we stay under the cap with his cap. With his roster.
It's one of two ways, right? Joe Shane goes back on his words and he does do a restructure, which I want him to do that. I really do.
How can you restructure and still be under the cap?
By wouldn't this is where I'm
you
not
have to extend him.
Yeah, like by extending him, right, and taking that money and pushing it back to next year and future years. The reason I'm okay with it now, because I wasn't okay with it before, is because he'll be the only restructure. Like we did once again, we cut Blake Martinez's money. It wasn't a restructure, and then we cut Sterling Shepard's money. Yeah. So I would be down for it then. And then the other way is once again, if Bradbury takes a pay cut, but he has no reason to take a pay cut, man.
Yeah. So he has no reason to for sure. But if he winds up getting extended and remains with the Giants, he may want to spread that money around just to help out the team if he feels like he wants to stay here longer. Zach Bruce,
he does. You know how I know he does. If you go on James Bradbury's Twitter, I don't know if he unliked it, but he liked a couple tweets that said Giants restructure this man to keep him.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. I would love to restructure James Bradbury and extend him because he's still playing at a very high level. There's no reason I wouldn't want to.
He's like 27, 28. He's in the middle of his prime.
Yeah,
man.
He's 29. But he's 29.
29?
Yeah.
I thought he was 28.
Yeah, he's 29.
There's no
he's 29.
way.
But I mean, it's 1 year more. Maybe he's 28 right now, but it says on Spot Rack that this season he'll be 29.
Yeah, he's 28. Yeah. And
okay.
He's 28, and then this season he'll be 29. So yeah, I would extend him to like his age 32, 33 season. I think that would be good.
Yeah. Zach Bruce, who is a Colts fan, Zach Bruce has been a part of my channel for a while. Zach Bruce is Colts fan. He's like, how do you feel about Danny Dimes? Maybe you're just inquiring about Danny Dimes because you guys are in the market for a quarterback. I heard a couple of rumors that Danny Dimes could be on his way to Indianapolis. but Daniel Jones, honestly, we talked about it just like probably 10 minutes ago, Zach Bruce. So you just missed it. We had a long talk about Daniel Jones, and we talked about how at this point of Daniel Jones' career, it's crazy to say that we haven't really got a fair evaluation of Daniel Jones. I guarantee you, Zach Bruce, he's a Colts fan. Zach Bruce, I guarantee you, if you guys pick up Daniel Jones.
To summarize everything, bro, just rewind 10 minutes, bro. That's it. Just rewind 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, but just keep it short, Zach. I honestly think if somehow we traded Daniel Jones, which I don't think is going to happen, but if somehow we traded Daniel Jones. You want to get into
general NFL news with the Colts? Baker Mayfield is rumored to be going there.
I know.
I think that would be a good fit. I don't know. I think that would be a good fit.
But to answer Zach Bruce's question, I feel like if Daniel Jones were to go to the Colts, I honestly think he would succeed. He has a great offensive line over there. I honestly think he would succeed. Now, he may pull a little bit of a Carson Wentz where he holds the ball a little too long, wherever the case may be. He's been having a problem with that and turning over the ball in stupid ways. He's very similar to Carson Wentz as far as that goes, but I think he would succeed, man. He would succeed. Maybe not. He wouldn't be any better than Carson Wentz, whatever he did this year. Just to let you know. The entertainer talking drugs. Gotta love this guy.
So
Dollar beer.
With entering general NFL right now, the rumor is Baker to the Colts for like a second round pick or something like that.
Well, that has no weight under it. It was just Baker. I guess a source from Baker's side asked where he would want to go, and he said the Colts. But there's no interest from the Colts yet. So
it's crazy to think how quickly this thing has collapsed. Because even though Baker Mayfield is like a mediocre quarterback,
he's not terrible. I don't think he's terrible. I really don't think that.
I mean, I said mediocre. I didn't say terrible.
No. I know. I'm saying like everybody else thinks he's terrible. I really don't think he's terrible.
I don't think that I think that the Browns are straight up disrespecting this man, bro. Mm-hmm. Like for real. Yeah. first overall pick. He wanted to go to Cleveland even before the draft. Nobody wants to go to Cleveland before like 2017, 2018. And he delivered on his promise. He said, "We'll make us a respectable franchise again." He brought them their first winning season. You know what I'm saying? I think and he as soon as he got there, they didn't lose anymore because then they go 8-8 his first year. So they like as soon as he got there, they technically weren't a losing team since then.
I think they went 7-9 his first season
Oh, okay,
when he stepped in for Tyrod Taylor.
Cool. But he brought them their first winning season, turned them for a while into a legitimate playoff contender, and got them their first playoff win in like 20-something years. And I understand that they think they need an upgrade at QB, but it is high-key disrespectful the way they're going about it. They didn't even tell him, by the way. The report saying they didn't even tell him they were like even thinking about replacing him. They just started to look for ways to replace him, and that's how rumors started in the first place. That's how fans started talking about it. That's how it got out to the public, and then that's how he found out.
Yeah, and it went downhill fast. And you know what it is?
Okay, thank you, Zach. I thought it was something legit. Yeah, somebody did confirm that there's mutual interest with the Colts and Baker.
But you know, as far as Baker goes, yeah, it went downhill very fast, and I think it was just because of Baker's personality, in my opinion. You know, like he's very outspoken. Like I don't think this would happen with any other quarterback. How violent the team and the fan base came at Baker Mayfield.
When's the last time he's been outspoken though? Like
he's calmed down over the years. He's calmed down over the years, but people don't forget, dude. They don't. Mm-hmm. They don't forget how.
Which is sad because you know what's crazy. You keep seeing, or not keep seeing, at least recently, it's gone a little bit viral again. That game where the guy refused to shake his hand was going viral, and he got really angry and he like destroyed them. I'm like, that's the last time he was good because that's the last time he had that fire in him. So Cleveland, they killed the fire, and now they're like still blaming him for the habit. That's kind of weird.
Exactly. So I mean, just quickly as we get a little bit back onto Giants, because we've got to talk about this a little bit back onto Giants news. Joe Shane was at Georgia Pro Day. We're seeing a lot of this that he may be a top 30 guy, and I actually don't mind this at all. We were able to pick up in the fourth round. He's like graded as like a fourth round pick right now. James Cook, little brother of Dalvin Cook, not nearly as good as Dalvin Cook. I'll just make that known. Okay, watching James Cook, he's not a world beater at all, but he's honestly a good receiving running back and can run. He runs pretty hard in between the tackles as well. Not as good as Dalvin, like I said, because I don't want everybody to think that he's like Dalvin Cook because he kind of looks like him a little bit. He's a lot slimmer though. But man, James Cook. As far as like a running back and a guy that can go out there and catch the football, I mean, I like him as an option to draft him in the fourth round. I really do. And the fact that the Giants are intrigued by that, it's going to help
in the fourth.
Yeah, I honestly think that he's
like
graded.
Third, maybe
he's graded right now. I don't honestly.
You know why I'm saying that though?
Why?
Because I've seen him rise up boards a little bit.
Rise up boards.
And I think if there's just a couple of running backs taken ahead of him that he's gonna go in the third. Like school name does carry a bit of weight, especially with this
Georgia and his brother, the Cook name as well.
Like it's a weird situation, but that's gonna do something. But like let Isaiah Spiller, for example, just go early, like super early in the second round, or somehow some way he goes late first round, and I think James Cook is gonna be taken in the third.
Yeah, that's why I'm really hoping that the running back group is kind of like undervalued a little bit, so all these good running backs kind of fall into like third, fourth round area, and then that's where we could take a change, or maybe a better better running back that we can take in the fourth round. But I like James Cook. I wouldn't take him in the third round though, but fourth round I would definitely be open to take him in there. So
other people, I'm not other people, but you guys know I'm not a Trayvon Walker hater. I'm a Trayvon Walker truther. But people
that's a perfect way to put it, Kush.
People love to say that they were there to look at Trayvon Walker. I'm like, no. There's a guy named Jamari Salyer who's there that they could draft and shift inside to guard. There's a couple of defensive tackles that I don't think they're going to take in the first round. But, you're looking at even you're looking at George Pickens as well on the wide receiver side. The Giants, I think, could definitely draft a wide receiver this year. Like, Georgia has a lot of players, bro. All right? Calm down. And then, because I don't want to forget Sarah's questions earlier, with the Colts fan, I'm trying to scroll up if I can find it, or if you are still in here, just restate the question. It was something with the Colts. Oh yeah, with the Yannick Ngakoue to the Colts. Okay, so that's two things in fact. So Chandler Jones signs with the Raiders, and then right after he signs with the Raiders, they trade Yannick Ngakoue to the Colts, and they get back Rock Ya-Sin. I think it was a win-win situation for both teams because it looks like the Colts probably might just replace Rockison in the draft. I don't know why they would give him up because he was a really good man corner for them, but they get the edge rusher that they also needed to play right outside by the Forrest Buckner. You know what I'm saying? And to play on the same defense right there with Darius Leonard. What do you think about not only that, but the Chandler Jones to Raiders move as well?
I think the rate, like all the both the these West Coast, all these West Coast teams are actually doing really well in freaking free agency as far as that goes. Like the Raiders right now have almost won free agency. I think the Chargers are doing really well in free agency as well. But the Raiders adding Chandler Jones, they've added other guys too that are slipping my mind that I cannot remember right now. But Chandler Jones adding Rocky Sin in there. Rocky Sin is very good. I liked him a lot coming out of the I think it was 2019 draft.
I liked
the same
draft as Baker. It was
Baker.
As
Baker.
It was Greedy, Baker, Rockison, and
Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
I had Rocky Sin right below all those guys. So I like him. I think he's a good addition there. Yannick Ngakoue was okay with the Raiders, but he's expendable because obviously they have Max Crosby there, right? So Max Crosby is the big guy they re-signed as well. And they can obviously try to get an edge rusher elsewhere. Oh, they got Chandler Jones already, obviously. So Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, and getting Rocky Sin. They're doing a fantastic job over there in Vegas. But yeah, I think it was a good trade.
That actually takes away somebody that I thought could have traded for the for James Bradberry. Because I think Rocky Sin is a really good starting corner, and he's still very young.
He'll be a fine starting corner.
He's going to be great. And then they signed another starting corner after they traded for Rocky Sin too. So I think that really does take them out the Bradbury sweepstakes, so to speak.
And that just to talk about the Raiders real quick, the Raiders, that defense is going to be insane. Like Patrick Graham is going to be controlling that defense. You got freaking Chandler Jones and Max Crosby on there.
Patrick Graham has the ultimate upgrade. He went from Lorenzo Carter and Azeez Ojulari to Max Crosby and Chandler Jones.
That's crazy.
He still has a good secondary. Like, bro, he's gonna be
Jonathan Abrams at safety.
Maybe, here's the thing, bro. Maybe it evens out because the AFC West is so beastly, and he has to play against Russell Wilson twice a year, Justin Herbert twice a year, and Patrick Mahomes twice a year. Versus
abuse.
where he had to play Jalen Hurts twice a year, Dak Prescott twice a year, and Taylor Heineke twice a year. So I think it's gonna even out. I really do.
This man's gonna have full grades by the time he his first season is over, man. He's gonna have
bro,
stressed.
The AFC is stacked. If you want to talk about that a little bit, they've really been the only conference making moves when you look at it.
Yeah, and if you look at Denver, just the AFC West in general right now has been. The Chiefs are always silent in free agency.
Do we have 4 Super Bowl contenders in the AFC West? Answer that. Or are they all just playoff contenders?
No. They're all playoff contenders for sure. Raiders are not a. Until they fix their offense, they're not a.
So in the AFC West, who are the Super Bowl contenders?
I think the 3 of them: Los Angeles, Denver, and
that's so crazy
that
you have 3 Super Bowl contenders.
It's insane. It's honestly insane. And I think the Raiders are almost there, but the Raiders lost a lot, right? They I don't know. John Jackson was last with them, right? Not last with the Rams. Last with them.
I can't remember. Honestly,
I know he was with them. I know he's with both teams this season, but either way, I don't think he's with them right now. They lost Zay Jones in free agency. They have no wide receivers at all, and so they need wide receiver help. The running back situation there is kind of I like their running game a little bit. They need some depth in there. Derek Carr is decent. Their offensive line is all right. They need to help that interior. I don't think they're really there as far as being Super Bowl contenders because of their offense. And we don't know what's going to happen with their defense because their defense just upgraded now, and their defense was terrible. So we'll see what happens with them. But as far as Denver is ready. Denver, do not sleep on Denver. Oh my God!
All last year we were saying they're a quarterback away, and they got one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
They were the most quarterback away team that I've ever seen. Like literally, a lot of people are saying that Washington was a quarterback away. They're not even close. A team like freaking Denver, who had a fantastic defense, who are probably going to get better on defense. Who they add on defense? Who do they add? Remind me. Do you remember? Did they add it? Yeah. Did they add Randy Gregory?
Randy Gregory, bro. I was like, you forgot.
Oh my God! How
defense,
poetic!
Bro.
How poetic! I loved it when Skip Bayless, all the crazy Cowboys fans, like, oh my God, we were able to keep Tank Lawrence and we were able to keep Randy Gregory, and then moments later, Randy Gregory said, "Psych," goes to Denver. for the same amount of money. Dude, it was the same amount of money.
Do you know why? Do you know why he chose Denver?
Because they're Super Bowl contenders. Russell Wilson.
No, that's not why. He was gonna go back to Dallas if it was actually the same amount of money. Because he didn't say this, but once again, when you pay attention to the like social media of the athletes, you see it. He liked several tweets from like media personnel in the Cowboys market that said that it was gonna be the deal we were told until Jerry started tinkering with it towards the end, which affected the amount of money he was gonna get. Why did Jerry start tinkering with it? For all you saying everybody that believes the cap isn't real, because they don't have cap space to work with. That's why he started tinkering with it.
He's cap strapped. But yeah, man, Denver, man, looks really good. Their defense looks phenomenal. Patrick Surtain, man, is absolutely insane.
Patrick Surtain is still the best cornerback prospect I've seen in like the past 7 years or something.
Yeah,
crazy like that,
he's definitely up. Like, I think in my number of years, I haven't been scouting very long, but like my number of years, my favorite cornerbacks I've ever scouted was Tre'Davious White, Jalen Ramsey, and Marlon Humphrey. Yeah. I love those guys. And definitely my dude Patrick Surtain was up there as well. But
and then no, I agree with Zach, because I really wanted to get your thought on it. You didn't really comment on it too much. I really do think if the Colts get Baker, they're in a better situation last year than when they had Carson Wentz.
It all depends on what Baker we see. Like, if we get that Baker listen, his rookie year Baker Mayfield made me really think that Baker Mayfield was going to be something be elite, right? That's why he got all those TV deals, all those commercials, right? Because everybody thought that he was the guy in Cleveland. And I think he could honestly still be that. If he goes to the Colts, remember, it's not like he's in a better situation with the Colts. The Browns had a phenomenal offensive line. The Browns had really good weapons.
Very similar. I'll say this: it's a very similar situation.
So
because the Colts also have a phenomenal offensive line.
So in my opinion, it is very hard to really say that Baker Mayfield is going to light it up with the Colts.
This is what I'll ask you though, right? Because their offenses are so similar, and sort of defenses, like the defense are very similar as well. They, like we just said, they have Yannick now, who Yannick has proven to be what we thought he was back in 2019 when the Giants wanted to get him. He's proven to be that. He's been one of the top 15 edge rushers in the NFL for the past, is it a year or 2 years that he's been with the Raiders? Whatever the case is. Yannick is a good edge rusher. They got Yannick, and they have DeForest Buckner. They have Darius Leonard, one of the best middle linebackers in the league. I'm assuming they're going to replace Rocky Sin in the draft and probably get some more defensive talent. Their defense is just as good as the Browns' defense. Their offense is just as good as the Browns' offense. So what does it come down to? Coaching. And I definitely think that Frank Reich is a better coach than Kevin Stefanski, at least offensive mind-wise. Yeah. So that if somehow, some way, the mind of Frank Reich could tap into Baker Mayfield and make him have a great season, then we'll see something.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. But I don't know how much of an upgrade he'll be over Carson Wentz, because they had the same stupid plays, right? Just like random interceptions, the overthrows, and holding the ball too long, getting sacked. They have the same sort of I guess play style, right? Your Yuvraj, I am sorry if I mispronounced that. Wanted me to highlight his last comment. Says, "Call me crazy, but I think the Giants can get a wild card spot if we have we have an easy schedule and the NFC East is weak." Your thoughts? Well, see, we say this every year, though.
Let's bouncing off that. Let's talk about the NFC East moves. Right, okay. The Cowboys have gotten worse, in my opinion.
Oh, they are trembling.
The Washington football team has gotten worse, not necessarily because of the Carson Wentz move, because they let go of Matt Ioannidis and Eric Flowers, who laugh at it all you want. The man's been a really good guard. I even tweeted, I was like, fans are gonna hate it, but like we need another guard, bro.
I don't think he would want to come back. Yeah, we were so toxic to him.
With good reason. With good reason he hates us. With good reason at the time.
I should have brought you flowers.
But yeah, no, I think Washington got worse and the Cowboys got worse. Really, the only team that got better was the Eagles, because they didn't lose anybody, but they gained Hassan Reddick.
Oh my God. You know this from last offseason. I was pounding the table for Hassan Reddick. I am pissed off he goes back home because he comes from Temple. He comes from Pennsylvania.
I was about to say, bro, like I think he wanted to go there.
He wanted to. It's his hometown. Yeah. It's his hometown. He's from Pennsylvania. Dude, Hassan Reddick, bro. I loved Hassan Reddick, and I knew he was going to get signed for cheap with Carolina, and he had 10.5 sacks last season, man. I really wanted him to stay. I really wanted him to come to New York. He was my top free agent last season, one of my top free agents last season, and he goes to Philly. Damn.
Like I was saying, bro, Philly, they didn't lose anybody. They got a edge rusher that's been putting up 10 sacks a season for 2 seasons now on a team that already had good edge rushers. Like, I'm
Mhm.
so sad because I believe we got better too, but you know, they're in a better situation than we are right now in general.
Yeah, and they have a lot of questions as well, but they just, I honestly, I mean, they got things done last season. Uh, I mean, not even. Didn't they have a bad record also?
Philly,
Um,
no, Philly ended up going into the playoffs,
oh yeah,
believe
yeah,
it or
they go
yep.
into the playoffs too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, still, they have a lot of questions. Their linebacker spot is questionable. I know a lot of people like
Guess
Alex
what?
Singleton
They're
over
in a
there.
better draft situation spot than we are. They have 3 first round
Oh
picks.
my god,
They're gonna be able to fix it all. They're
I
gonna be
just
able
did
to
a
fix all
video.
of it.
I just did a video like going over the PFF's mock draft, and I'll be releasing that after we're done here. But I said this in the video that Philly literally cannot screw up this draft that they have. 3 first-round picks right dead smack in the middle of this draft is where all the defensive talent is. Like if they
Mhm.
want to upgrade their defense, because honestly, with just how a lot of how oh god, somebody freaking timeout this user too. Just by how oh my god. All right,
That's
just
cool
by
emoji
how
though.
yeah, just by how this how the mock drafts are like shaping up in the middle of the first round, like a lot of the offensive talent is like not really valued in that spot. You're seeing a lot of defensive talent go around where Philly goes. They can get another wide receiver if they wanted to, but they can load up on defense in this draft. They can get a solid corner. There, I've seen Derek Stingley fall there. I've seen freaking Andrew Booth falling there. Andrew Booth is no joke, man. I like Andrew Booth. A lot of people have David Ajabo. Obviously, they got Hassan Riddick now, so maybe Ajabo is not the guy, but you can get a Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean. Like you can get so much talent and load up on. They can't screw it up. And I know they're gonna trade down with one of those picks. There's no doubt in my mind they're gonna trade down with one of those picks. They have 3 first-round picks there. They're gonna trade down, or even
Why, bro?
combine
But
and trade up.
why? Here's the thing, though,
Why
right? Like they
would
could
you? Right?
get.
Why would you? But they
Why would you?
always
Because they could get a starting corner, they could get a starting
here's but
linebacker,
here's the
and they
rule.
could get another great wide receiver.
Here's like the non-spoken rule or the non-spoken trend that happens when teams have consecutive first-round picks back to back. They never stay there. Never. I've never seen it happen. Every time a team has consecutive first-round picks, they never stay there. They always trade down. It's happened before. And I can definitely see that happen because they have the 15, 16, and then all the way to 19. I can see them trading down from like the 16 and going down to like 20 something and then keeping the
We'll
15 and
see.
19.
We'll see.
So we'll see what happens there. But I've never seen a team in the first round pick consecutively. They always traded over. So we'll see what happens. I know you're Raj. They keep making new accounts. But Deshaun Watson going to the Panthers. I could see it happening, but I don't even know why he would want to go to the Panthers. I would go to the Saints. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm going to the Saints. And there's another team that's been the Falcons. Why would you want to go to the Falcons? Do they have they have no wide receiver. They have to draft Garrett Wilson, dude. Garrett Wilson's going to be your best freaking receiver. I mean, and Kyle Pitts there too, which is no joke, but still. I don't know. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm going to the Saints.
Yeah, I guess we could get into the Deshaun Watson situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
His team's narrowed down to the Panthers and to the Texans. I'm sorry, to the Panthers and
And
to the
Saints.
Saints.
But Falcons have been making a push, man.
Falcons
And
apparently have been
Browns.
making a push.
Falcons and Browns.
Browns are I've heard that Browns probably are not going to happen because like they probably have to give up too much or something like that. Like
They
the
said they
two
want to
front
be
runners are
they
two
said
front runners are Panthers and Saints.
they said the Browns were planning to be aggressive. But I still don't think they probably
And
do
then
enough to get it done.
here's the thing. Oh yeah, the reason the Browns I don't see it happening because they don't have a first round pick. And well, Houston's gonna want a lot back. We already know that without question. So if he goes to the Panthers, that affects the Giants a lot because the Panthers pick in between our two picks. So if, for example, that pick ends up with Houston, depending on what they did at third overall, if they got an edge, if one of the edges was there, or a tackle,
Mm-hmm.
that affects what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what if we didn't take a tackle because we're like, oh, he's gonna beat her at 7 because Carolina is gonna take Kenny Pickett or something like that, and all of a sudden there's a trade, and now that pick belongs to Houston, and they take the tackle. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting out there that 6th overall pick, even if Carolina sticks with it, because they could still take a tackle. It's very interesting right now in between our two picks.
Yeah, and you see, Mike said highlight his next comment. KB, can we discuss the Buffalo Bills? I have them going to the Super Bowl this year. What do you think about what do you think about the Bills? We talked a lot about the AFC West, and you said it. There's 3 Super Bowl contenders. That's crazy to say, but 3 Super Bowl contenders in the AFC West. But the Buffalo Bills are no joke either. They were this close from even making the Super Bowl. Now they've added first their defensive line is absolutely insane. I just from the top of my head, Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, Von Miller, freaking who else they have on that freaking edge right now? They've got tons of talent on that edge right now. They added Daquan Jones. They've added.
Wait a minute, bro. Hold up. Didn't you get a new phone? What's up with the focusing?
I know I'm not using the phone. I'm not using the phone right now.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should, bro.
I know, but I gotta figure out how to.
Camera, bro.
I gotta
that
figure
camera.
out. I just gotta figure out how to use it as a webcam. I don't know how to use it as a webcam, but
use the app.
Okay, yeah. There was an app.
Yeah,
but they added Dequan. They added Tim Settle. Like their freaking D line is absolutely insane.
And of course, you can't overstate how good their secondary is.
Exactly. The second, Tre'Davious White. They may be in the running to getting another corner this season. A lot of people have them mocking a corner in the first round. And obviously their offense.
Yeah, guess what? They
insane.
Levi Wallace just signed elsewhere, a guy that I wanted for the Giants. So they're looking to replace their third cornerback, basically.
Yes, and AJ Epinesa as well, Mike. So what do you think about the Buffalo Bills? And it's crazy to say how they're like a dark horse now because everybody's paying attention to the AFC West. What do you think about the Buffalo Bills sneaking into the Super Bowl?
It's possible. They're not my Super Bowl pick, but it's possible. I mean, it's been possible for about 2 years now. I just got to see them. Let me see. Let me quickly make sure something here. Because they were in the championship game in 2020, right?
The championship game? I don't know about the championship game.
In 2020, weren't they in the AFC championship game?
I can't remember, man. All these years are a blur, especially when I'm on freaking live stream. I always freaking blank out.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, Bills versus Chiefs was the 2020 AFC championship game, and then they got eliminated in the divisional round right here. Yeah. I gotta see them beat the Chiefs, bro. Whether it's in season or in the playoffs, as long as they do that, all right, fine. But they're not much.
But I think the Bills got better this offseason so far. Before you say that, I honestly think the Chiefs have not gotten better or worse so far. They've kind of been stagnant. The Bills so far have gotten a lot better, in my honest opinion. They added so much that Tim Settle and Daquan Jones rotating in with Ed Oliver and Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa and Von Miller. Adding Von Miller is already a huge upgrade. The Bills got a lot better. And you look at the Chiefs, they lost Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Reed. They filled that in with Justin Reed, which is nice. They lost Shavarius Ward, one of their starting corners, and they really haven't done anything else beside that. They re-signed your freaking stay off the weed. They re-signed him, and that's pretty much it, right? They pretty much already have their team set. So they haven't really made any upgrades. But yeah, go ahead and tell me who your Super Bowl pick is.
My Denver. Super Bowl pick is somebody that's going all in, and I'm going all in with them. It's the Chargers.
The Chargers. Hey, honestly, of course.
Listen, bro. They lost. They basically one game out of the playoffs, right? Because it was that Chargers Raiders game, and I think they would have made some noise last year if they got in the playoffs. This year, an offensive line that was already improved last year, I think is going to be improved even more. The defense is already stacked. They're in perfect position to get Herbert more weapons. Mm-hmm. It's crazy what they're in position to do with this draft because of how well they executed free agency. They're going all in on their young QB, and we just saw how much a young QB can do with Joe Burrow. And even a couple years before that, we saw how much a young quarterback in Patrick Mahomes can do. I'm going all in with them. I think that they could legitimately make the Super Bowl.
And this would be Justin Herbert's third season. I think it was like Russell Wilson's third season that he won a Super Bowl too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Justin Herbert, man. I every time I think about Justin Herbert, I always think about what could have been. What could have been if he would have just stayed in that freaking draft, bro. He would have been a Giant. But and then especially all the slander that I talked about him too when he was coming out as a rookie. Maybe I was a little salty because he didn't come out in that draft. Mm-hmm. But man, Justin Herbert, I'm a huge fan. I still think he's better than Joe Burrow. Call me crazy. I still think he's better than Joe Burrow. I don't know. He just doesn't have it, the full team together. But I think he's definitely in the running to make the Super Bowl. Their defense is getting a lot better. They upgraded their defense insanely. They lost Casey Hayward, who a couple of years ago.
Replaced him with J.C. Jackson.
Yeah, and replaced it with J.C. Jackson. They added Khalil Mac next to Joey Bosa. They added freaking my boy Sebastian Joseph Day. that I went to school
No,
with him a
you
while
know who
ago.
my boy is that they added? Austin Johnson.
Austin
And
Johnson.
people underestimate how good Austin Johnson was. He was actually third in the league in run stops last year, which is one of the many reasons I was like, the Giants need to re-sign this dude. And now we're in a position where we need to draft a defensive tackle because all we got is Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, and nobody that I trust behind them. And
Yeah.
in our system anyway, you're gonna need 3 DTs. There's packages where you're gonna be sending 3 DTs out there. So we need to draft somebody. I'm not saying high, mid-round, probably fourth to fifth. But we're in a tough situation. But Austin Johnson, bro, third in the league in run stops last year, KB. Tied 10th in the league for run stop percentage. He was very, very good.
Yeah, very productive. And we noticed that. We definitely noticed that when we were watching the games. We definitely noticed Austin Johnson out there. So that's a big upgrade there for the Chargers, and a good signing. That Chargers defense got a lot better. It's not just going to be, the offense carrying them and everybody's going to know the Chargers for their offense. Now they can really legitimately be known for their defense. Remember, they still have guys like freaking Derwin James in there, right? Their linebacking core is pretty decent. Jerry Tillery's still there. I don't know how well he's doing because they keep upgrading that defensive tackle spot. So I don't know if he's any good still.
Maybe like he's being stagnant or something.
And adding Khalil Mac, like Khalil Mac to me has really like gone down over the years. He was one of the best pass rushers in football, especially with the Raiders. He goes to the Bears and he kind of falls off the map.
The past couple of years, the reason he hasn't been, I guess, that productive, or you haven't noticed him that much, is because the Bears started dropping him back in coverage. And I'm like, I know he could play outside linebacker, but he's a pure pass rusher.
Yeah.
Because I saw Bears fans talking about that. They're like, they started dropping him back in coverage a little bit. And once again, just like with the Glowinski thing, it was more so a scheme thing. Even if it wasn't a scheme thing and he just legitimately regressed, KB, him next to Joey Bosa,
he's next to Joey Bosa.
Be too deadly, bro. He's the second option.
And the Chargers did a really good job in replacing players. Like Uchenna Nwasu is a guy that I really liked coming out of USC a couple of years ago back in the 2018 draft. He was very productive for the Chargers. He winds up signing with Seattle for I think just like $10 million a year or something like that. And so they lost him and they freaking replaced him with Khalil Mack, bro. I mean, come on. Him and Joey Bosa are going to be absolutely insane. And it's good. It's very, very good preparation for the rest of the AFC West. Like we talked about it earlier, having Derek Carr is no joke. Russell Wilson, obviously no joke. And Patrick Mahomes, obviously no joke. So, they got the right tools to prepare for the AFC West. And the Chargers are definitely a contender here. So
who would you have as yours coming out of the AFC West?
That's what I was just gonna say. I don't know. My money to me, just based on pure experience and based on readiness, I want to say Denver. And it's crazy how we talk about the Chiefs, but I'm not considering them anymore. I don't know. Like I said, they've been stagnant this offseason. They're always stagnant. Like they don't really make big free agent moves, but you look at all these other teams like going above and beyond, right? The Chargers going above and beyond. Denver, to me, going above and beyond. Buffalo upgrading insanely to their already stacked roster. The Chiefs, to me, seem to be very content with just having Patrick Mahomes and the team that they have and just running with that. Maybe their cap strap. I don't know what their cap situation is looking like, but
I mean, they definitely could be. Remember, that dude signed on a $500 million.
Right. I know, but that's just $50 million a year, isn't that?
They did his contract.
You want to
hear
something crazy?
Contract in the same year, and Jones got a good amount of money too.
You want to hear something crazy? And we talked about how NFL TikTok is stupid, right? NFL TikTok is probably the insane, the worst takes on TikTok. But I seen this on NFL TikTok. There's never been a Super Bowl winning quarterback that had a top five yearly salary. Never. So all these quarterbacks.
I think we've talked about this as Giants fans, going back to when Eli Manning was still here, and people were trying to defend Eli Manning still being here. We're like, he has a top 5 salary right now, and I remember people bringing that up back in 2016, 2017 time.
Yeah, no, there has never been a quarterback in NFL history during that time that had a top 5 yearly salary that won a Super Bowl, and that is strictly because when you have so much money, and like I said, there's nothing.
The one person.
Yeah, and there's nothing going against the quarterback himself. Get your money, right? Like everybody, you're not just gonna say, "Oh, I don't want $50 million."
It's why Tom Brady has consistently been
exactly my point. I was just gonna get to that. People, what's funny? A lot of people would probably say, "Well, Tom Brady." No, Tom Brady's always the one to to take the pay cuts and be lesser paid so he could help the team around him. Guys, a lot of people talking
Bro,
about,
last
Aaron
year, guess what?
Rodgers
Brady
and
was
Patrick
like the 15th.
Mahomes.
He was ranked
Mm-hmm.
15th in salary for quarterbacks last year. And the year before that, it was probably something similar when they won the Super Bowl.
What up, Joe Lutz? That's one of my longtime subscribers. What up, Joe Lutz? You freaking cannoli bastard. But you look at Patrick Mahomes, and this is what I was kind of getting to. Patrick Mahomes making $50 million a year. We may not see the Chiefs win a Super Bowl with him under contract because of how cap strapped they're going to be. We've seen it right now. They're not making moves. They're not making any moves. They're thinking about releasing Frank Clark if they haven't already, right? I don't know if they still have Frank Clark, but they're thinking about.
I think they re-signed. Didn't they re-sign Frank Clark? I saw something.
Didn't they? I thought they were thinking about releasing him.
Let me just look it up because
yeah,
I'm pretty sure
I may be wrong.
I
may be wrong here.
Yeah, they reworked his deal.
Yesterday. Reworked it. Okay, they reworked. But there was rumors
signed
about
Justin
them.
Reed though, which I think is a good. Justin Reed is an underrated safety. It looks like they're probably gonna lose Matthew. I think he's
they definitely lost Matthew. That's the reason why they signed him. Yeah,
I'm not saying that he is Tyrann Mathieu, but it is a really good replacement.
Exactly, but that's why I'm saying like the Chiefs have been stagnant. They're replacing one with another. They're not really upgrading at any spots.
They need to draft an edge rusher this draft, man.
They need to draft the edge rusher and get a corner, dude. Get a freaking corner. Every year they need a corner.
Yeah, probably a corner, but I'd say also get another weapon too. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as listen, if history holds true, which it has up until the beginning of the NFL. Patrick Mahomes may not see, and the Chiefs may not see another Super Bowl as long as he's under contract with that $50 million. Because how are you gonna upgrade your team? You got to rely strictly on rookie contracts all the time. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. A lot of people are happy that Aaron Rodgers is back. He's making $50 million a year. Oh my God, he's like making, I think it's 40 this year, but it's like insane. It's like 59 the next year or something like that. It's insane, dude. He's making a lot of money. And that's fine. They get your money right, but you're just not gonna. If you take up a third of the freaking cap, you're not gonna win a Super Bowl, man. With the team around you, just not gonna happen. And then Davante Adams declines $23 million a year when his quarterback's making 50. How much do you really want to spend on two players? How much do you want them to spend? If I'm the Packers,
Adams, with all like rightness in the world, I should say, Davante Adams, he turned down the $23 million extension because of the craziness. We didn't even talk about this. Christian Kirk signed for $21 million. If I'm him, I'm doing the same thing, bro.
That ruined the freaking market.
Doing the same thing if I'm him.
That ruined the freaking market, bro. That contract. We could talk about that a little bit too. But the Jaguars did they pulled like a Giants, a 2016 Giants, but in the worst way possible, right? They overspent on average talent. Like kill insanely. Freaking Evan Ingram, okay? Evan Ingram on a 1-year $10 million deal is not terrible, but it's fully guaranteed. That's the problem. It's fully guaranteed. And then they get Christian Kirk. What was it? 4 years, 5 years, $72 million, 84 in incentives?
Bro, just 21 a year, bro.
That's insane.
I agree with Edward. They spent all their money on mid, bro. They got
on average talent.
Christian Kirk.
And they got
not even a number one receiver. Christian Kirk is a number 2 receiver. Let's call it space.
Number 2 receiver being
they
paid
gave a number 2 receiver top 3 receiver money. That's crazy. And then they signed another number 2 receiver, Marvin Jones. DJ Chark is gone, and they're shopping Laviska Shenault. Who's on
a rookie contract? He's on a rookie contract.
Bro, who is your number 1 receiver? What are you doing? You gonna draft somebody? No, you're not. You got way too much money invested.
No, I think they paid Christian Kirk to be the number 1 receiver, which is stupid.
That's what I'm saying, bro. He's not a number 1. He's not an alpha. And then they signed Mr. Evan Ingram.
And they signed Brandon Scherf, which I think was a good signing. But
Evan Ingram, listen, I think Evan needed a fresh start. Maybe this is it, but Mr. Evan Ingram for $10 million a year. I know it's a 1-year proven deal, but that's a little bit much.
You know what I think? I think the Jaguars probably weren't able to attract, top talent, and they had to spend money on mid talent. But I think they got desperate because they're really trying to get something around Trevor Lawrence.
They should have just waited for.
I know. Robinson. Trust
they're
me.
Acting as if Allen Robinson isn't on the market.
Trust me, bro. I would just wait till the draft, sign free agents for like the money they're supposed to be paid, right? You can still do that and keep your cheaper off. I don't know how much DJ Chark is making right now, maybe $10 million a year, something like that with Detroit on a 1-year deal. I'm okay with the Evan Ingram signing. If you really want to do that 1 year, $10 million guaranteed, that's fine, to try to give a weapon to Trevor Lawrence. And I get what they want to do. They want to try to gather as much as they can around Trevor Lawrence so they can really see what he does and give him the freedom of, taking over the offense. But damn, Christian Kirk, $20 million a year. You guys killed the wide receiver market, man. We're gonna see a freaking wide receiver make $30 million a year one day, man.
I'm gonna
Oh
hate that so much.
God.
Oh, well, I said this on the Clapback Sports thing. I think what the NFL teams are going to do, or what they should do, is that they should start treating the wide receiver position the same way they treat the running back position, because we're seeing for like a fourth year in a row, bro, probably even fifth, there's tons and tons of wide receiver talent in this draft that you could get from rounds 1, shout out Miz, all the way to round 4, bro. So what they should do is start treating it like the running back position. Just start drafting multiple wide receivers. And once their rookie deal is up, if they want that $30 million, it's like, all right, bro, like this next draft is about to have like 20 wide receivers to choose from. Like,
Exactly.
have you not noticed that? And that's how the running back position kind of changed from taking Zeke, Leonard Fournette, and Saquon in, top 5 picks with all those guys very, very quickly to what we're seeing now, because so many talented running backs are consistently coming out. So I think that's what they are going to shift to. And if they do shift to that, then the market will hopefully reset, because then they're like, okay, we're demanding too much for contract.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's how Jacksonville is going. And it's funny. I think I follow UCF Jaguar. I don't think he's happy about these moves at all. And it's crazy because like every other team in the NFL are happy about all the moves they're making except the Jaguars. Jaguars fans are like, "Are you kidding me, Christian Kirk?" Oh God! And Allen Robinson is still out there. What a joke. What an absolute joke. But guys, we hit the 11-minute mark. We're probably like, if you guys have any other questions, you make it quick.
11-minute mark.
11th hour mark, right? But it's our 1.5 hour mark, but 11th hour of the day. You guys know I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. I need to eat something and then get ready for bed. But if you guys have any more comments or questions, make sure you guys leave it in the comments. Yeah, so we'll make this quick. You guys have any more comments or questions you guys want us to answer really quickly, we'll do that for you guys, and then we're going to call it a show. We had a really good show today. We covered a lot. Free agency's upon us. We're getting back into it. And football is exciting again. It's relevant again. So
yeah, Joe Lutt's saying yeah, and Miz says he doesn't like the seal thing. I say this: it doesn't take away from drafting a tight end. I don't think so at all. I think that we're still probably in the market for a tight end in like around the 3rd round. But I think it's a good signing. He was Washington's number 2 tight end. That was when he had a chance. He was producing for them when he had a chance. He's somebody that, you know what, and we probably gave him like the vet minimum, like $1 million or less than $1 million. So I'm fine with it.
And here's the thing. It would be no sense. There would be no sense of upgrading. Like I didn't think we were gonna get a top tight end in this free agency anyway. In no way, shape, or form. There would be no sense of getting rid of Evan Ingram if we were going to sign a top tier tight end to like $8-9 million a year. Yeah. Evan Ingram's market is like $10 million. We would save literally no money. We're cap strapped right now. The only reason why, not only reason why we don't have Evan Ingram, but still, we had to find a way to save money, and we had to find a way to get younger talent in here. The only way to do that, unfortunately, is to get lesser valuable players. Ricky Seals-Jones is a guy that can, like I said, Miz, and I said this earlier on in the stream. This is a New York Giants team that has started Larry Donnell for a whole season, that has started a Will Tye for a whole season. The tight end position is not the be-all, end-all. You can have garbage tight end start and they don't really make a difference. Okay, they really don't. You can have garbage tight end start, and it's not going to make too much of a difference on your offense. I honestly think that the tight end position is nothing but a cherry on top to an offense. Right,
I agree with that. That's why I was so against Kyle Pitts so high last year.
Yeah, exactly. And look at the Atlanta Falcons right now. They have Kyle Pitts, who's an absolute star, and their offense looks like garbage. Okay, the tight end position is just a cherry on top, more so than like the running back position. People say the running back position is undervalued or shouldn't be as valued. The tight end position isn't as valued unless you're talking about like a freaking Travis Kelce, who like sometimes runs the offense, right? Has like 200-yard games, right? That's different. But I'm fine with Ricky Seals-Jones, man. I think he's better than a Will Tye. I think he's better than a Larry Donnell. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's probably better than like Evan Ingram, but he may be more consistent than Evan Ingram. We'll see. Like we're looking for consistency, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we're still taking somebody in the third round.
Oh yeah, I think we're definitely gonna take a tight end in this draft for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So
but yeah, I think that's gonna be it, guys.
yeah,
I mean, wow, this man was persistent. At least it wasn't like terrible spam messages. It was just spam. Like we
regular
be
old
having some
spam,
terrible
regular old
dudes in here
spam.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So guys, we're gonna be wrapping this up. I want to thank you guys for like keeping the consistency on the concurrent viewers. Like you guys have been in here from the start of the show to the end of the show. So I want to thank all of you guys for coming in here. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, guys. Really appreciate you guys, joining in and talking football with us. We've been doing this for a while now. We've been doing this podcast specifically for like over a year now. And
I just realized, my 3rd year anniversary on YouTube actually passed. I didn't even realize it, but I've been on it for like 3 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I've been on here I was thinking about it yesterday. I've been on here for almost 7 years. So that's like insane to me. So that's almost a decade, bro. That's insane. Like my whole like end of high school career, end of high school life has been just YouTube and, everything about YouTube. So thank you guys so much for joining in. This means the world to us. So appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week on Cush's channel, and we'll be talking more Giants football and NFL football. So until then, guys.
And KB said he might be available for the live mock draft stream.
Yeah,
so like this Sunday at 8:30, I'm gonna have a couple people on. We're gonna be on the side because the main focus is gonna be the simulator.
You said 8:30?
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna make that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make that. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. So you guys stick around. We'll be probably dropping videos in the midweek before Sunday. So you guys make sure you guys got notifications on both of our channels. Link is in the description on the Hub's channel. Check us out. Sunday 8:30 on Cush's channel, and on Wednesday 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Cush's channel for the next edition of Young Guns. So that being said, guys, see you guys later.